I'm here with Chief William Metcalf, incoming IAFC President. Chief Metcalf, thank you for being with us today.
You're very welcome.
And
Thanks for having me.
congratulations on your election.
Thank you very much. It's a real honor to be selected by your peers to serve.
Oh,
so
I'm sure
looking
it
forward
is.
to it.
Yes, definitely. Now, what are your top priorities for the year ahead?
Personally, I think there are a number of issues that are facing our profession, but there are four issues that are particularly close to my heart. One is I think we are facing a leadership crisis in the fire service. Through this economic downturn, we have seen a flight of experienced fire chiefs. The more senior fire chiefs have left the profession to retirement, and we've not been able to hire new folks to come along behind and fill behind. And we're now in a situation where we need leadership more than ever in the fire service, and we've not prepared the next generation to come along and follow us. A second issue is that we have lost our focus on diversity in the fire service. I think that we no longer need to talk about why is diversity important, why is it valuable for our fire departments, but in recent years, I think we've lost our focus, and we're losing all the gains that we made in the 80s and the 90s with adding diversity to our workforces. And I think it's just a matter of competing priorities and the fact that we've not been hiring. And what we're seeing is that the minorities and women who have joined the fire service 15 or 20 years ago are now retiring, and we're not replacing them. And I think the fire service is worse off as a result of that. As we lose diversity, as we even less represent the communities that we serve, it makes us not as effective in doing our jobs. A third issue that I think is a critical priority for me is we have a growing issue in the health of our firefighters. For years we've talked about cardiac problems, for years we've talked about keeping firefighters safe on the fire ground, but there's a bigger problem that is looming, and that's cancer in the fire service. There have been more firefighters diagnosed with cancer in the last 2 years than in the previous 10 years combined. For many types of cancers, firefighters have 200 to 300% more occurrence of those types of cancers in firefighters. And today we talk about a typical year having 80 or 90 line of duty deaths in the fire service. If we were to include deaths of firefighters due to cancer, that number would be 700 or 800 a year that are dying due to cancers that are most likely caused by the things we come into contact on the job. And there's just a real lack of awareness about the risks and the things that we can do in a tangible way to reduce that risk. And so I really want to make a piece of my priorities as I travel around the country to do all that I can to raise awareness about the risks of cancer and what we can do to reduce it in firefighters. And finally, just recently we've had a number of real tragedies in line of duty deaths of firefighters, whether it's Houston or Prescott, Arizona. And I've come away from those experiences, in addition to being incredibly sad about the losses that we've had, I'm angry because I don't believe that we are doing enough to keep our firefighters safe in this country. And we talk about safety, we talk about we'll reduce the line of duty deaths, but at the end of the day, our culture in the fire service is that deaths are inevitable. It's almost as though there's nothing we can do, that if it's a dangerous job and so people are going to die. And I don't buy that.
Now let's go back to one of the first things that you mentioned, and that is leadership. You've served on a number of committees and boards. How do you think this will help you in your term as president?
The IFC is a huge organization that is involved in a whole lot of different activities and a whole lot of different agendas. And the fact that I've been on committees and I've served on task forces and I've been on the board, I've been the treasurer of the organization, has given me the opportunity to see how the organization works. We get things done not because of who sits in the president's chair. We get things done because of who sits on the committees and the task forces and are out there really doing the job. And I have a real personal appreciation for the hardworking IAFC members who are out there in those committees and task forces, and my job is to support them doing their job.
Exactly. Now, how do you see the IAFC evolving in the next coming years?
The world's changing around us. We're an organization that's celebrating its 140th birthday this year, and we've got to be careful that we don't continue to do things as an association the way that we did them 140 years ago. The old model of we come together once a year and hang out with other fire chiefs as a social experience has got to go away. We've got to find new and innovative ways of delivering professional education, helping to prepare those future leaders for the fire service, for communicating with the fire service about the issues that are important. We've got to learn to look for alternatives to the big convention as our big activity of the year. So I think that it starts with a change that we've got to be willing to be innovative. We've got to be willing to look for alternative and new ways of doing the things that we've done for 140 years. The mission hasn't changed, but we need to be willing to look at new and different ways of accomplishing that mission.
I see. Chief Metcalf, thank you for being with us today.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you very much.